Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to this video. All right guys, so we're gonna do this video on a situation that apparently a lot of people have issues with, particularly with these vehicles, newer vehicles. And honestly, I think this is what these manufacturers of these vehicles do to, I don't know, make more money off customers, because this no crank, no start issue on these vehicles is the fix for it is such a weird thing. All right. I'm going to tell you guys how to get this fixed if you guys have this issue. Now, I never had any issues with this vehicle. It's a newer vehicle. Haven't had any problems with it. Been driving fine. Starts up fine, like any newer vehicle would. However, just the other day, I was at Wendy's and got something to eat at Wendy's. Came out, tried to start it, and it would not start. It was a click. Got power. It clicked. And nothing else. And the situation to me, you know, I thought it was maybe the battery, because that's what it's a newer vehicle. It's probably, I'm thinking, what could actually cause a situation like this? Well, if you just get a click, no crank and a click, normally it could be the battery, the fuses, the starter, stuff like this. But you would see these kind of problems in older vehicles, not a vehicle that's this current. So I was thinking to myself, all right, so we're gonna have to check some stuff. All right. So turn on the headlights, got out, checked the headlights, try to figure out whether the battery's the problem. And the headlights were very, very bright. So I was thinking it's probably not the battery, but you know what? There's nothing else I could think of. Vehicle this new probably shouldn't have any problems. The battery is pretty new. It shouldn't have this problem. Batteries normally last for 4 years. And even if it's a battery going bad, you would get a slow crank. However, in this situation, there was no crank at all. So it's there's a chance that maybe the battery was defective or something like that. So I asked a couple of people if they could help me jump it, and I had like a couple of people tell me they didn't have cables, but I did run into one person who actually did help me out, and I was I was hoping that I would get one person in the parking lot with a big truck or something like that, so I could get more power, and was able to get that person to help me out. Jumped it, nothing happened. Still had the same situation, and on top of that, kept the cables on for a couple of minutes. Try to crank it, did the same thing. Lights on the dash, click, nothing. Aside from that, everything seemed to be working. Not that I checked the power windows or anything like that. It was kind of cold out, so I was like, okay. In this situation, it's probably not the battery. And I was looking at the terminals to make sure the terminals were tight and clean. It's a new truck. It's tight and clean. Checked out the cables just to see if there's no issues with the cables connected to the terminals. No issues. Everything was tightened up. Everything was clean. Under the hood, it was clean. All right. Like a newer vehicle should. So I was thinking to myself, okay, so it's like I was 99% sure it's not the battery, and I wasn't gonna take the battery out to change it or anything like that. So I was thinking to myself, all right, so it's not the battery. It's possible that it's the starter. But it's probably not probable that it's the starter. It's a newer vehicle. and you know, starters go out after, oh, I don't know, 150,000 miles. Some go out 200,000 miles. Some even, you know, if you get like a really good Toyotas, those you know, you could probably drive 200,000 miles, go 200,000 miles before the starters go out. But in this situation, this is a newer vehicle, and I was thinking to myself, all right, got to check the relays and the fuses. All right, had to check the relays and the fuses. Got to the relays, looked at the relays, and you know, everything was clean. Can't actually do any tests on the relay and any tests on the relays. Try to see whether there was another relay that was similar to the starter relay, where the starter relay was. But the only problem with that is, I think the ignition system on these vehicles, there's at least 3 or 4 fuses with the ignition cylinder, the ignition firing off, and all that. There's at least 2 or 3 different fuses that goes through before it actually goes through the relay. But here's the thing about it. The relay seemed to have worked okay. And I was thinking to myself, you know, it did click. So the click could have been the relay or the solenoid on the starter going off. Now, I really didn't have any tools with me. Was at the parking lot, did not want to have the vehicle towed, even though I had AAA. There's no reason to wait, you know. There's no reason for me to wait an hour or 2 hours for a tow truck to come and all that stuff, even though I had AAA. So I was pretty, to be honest with you, I was pretty adamant that it was something that was causing the issue that I could fix, because it wasn't an older vehicle. This vehicle did not have a ton of miles on it, and never had an issue with it before that. And I've worked on vehicles where, you know, one simple fuse or whatever could cause a situation like this. So I went online, looked at a bunch of videos like you guys are doing, because this situation is like an oddball situation. It's a little bit strange. And I was crossing my fingers, hoping like you guys, hoping that it's something, it's a fuse or something like that. So I was looking at different areas of the vehicle where the fuses were. Came across these fuses. You guys opened the driver's side door. On the side panel, there are fuses there. So I took the panel off, and I was like, let me see if any of the fuses are blown. All right. Now, I was looking at the fuses. Couldn't tell if the fuses were blown or not. And pretty much took a couple of fuses out. I forget which particular fuses I took out, just to see, because I did not have I did not have a fuse tester with me. So I was actually taking the fuses out and just looking at it to see whether the connectors and the fuses were blown or not. And funny enough, I noticed something. I noticed that the fuses when I was taking it out were pretty loose coming out. So and I took about 3 different fuses out, and they came out pretty easy, you know. And I was like, so I took 3 fuses out. They came out pretty easy, and I could actually take it out with my fingers. Normally, you'd have to, you know, it comes with a fuse puller, and I did use that, and it came out pretty easily. So I actually used my finger to take the other 2 fuses out, and they came out pretty easily. So I'm like, when I put it back, I actually pushed it back, used a little bit of force to push it back, and I noticed that some of these fuses were not leveled up with other fuses, because the fuses that I popped in went back deeper than the ones that are out. So what I did was, I wasn't. So it occurred to me that maybe these fuses were not pushed in. So what I did was I pushed the fuses in. Now, I'm not saying that this will help you guys out. Hopefully it does, because apparently there's a lot of people who are stranded with this particular problem caused by this particular issue. And I gotta tell you, this has gotta be like one of those things where these manufacturers just do this kind of stuff so that you could take it to the dealership and they charge you like, oh, I don't know, $200, $300, $400, $500, maybe a couple $1,000, telling you there's these other issues with your vehicle. It's insane what they do these days. I could go on and on about how they make these vehicles with these, they're not exactly flaws, but they make it so that at a certain point you start having issues. Either the parts aren't to specification, or the parts aren't meant to last a certain period of time, or in this case, even the fuses are not pushed in all the way. And you might say, well, that's just your vehicle, but no. If you guys have this problem, try it. All right, try it. Because I've looked around, I've done some research. There are a lot of people who have actually had this particular problem. Not everybody. And by the way, if you guys have one of these newer vehicles, I gotta tell you something. You guys should not be having any kind of issues at all with no crank, no starts. Not even with a bad battery, you guys should have any of these kind of issues. So if you guys have this problem and you guys are stranded and you guys need to figure out a quick fix for this, definitely worth a try. And drop a comment if this is your problem and this solves your problem. Drop a comment. It might help you guys out of a situation. Please subscribe. Please give me a thumbs up. All that good stuff. Appreciate your time. All right, guys. Take care.